Hey, boys and girls, we're back again with another video. This one's going to be my review for The Walking Dead, Season 10, Episode 12. Now, this episode, hands down, is probably the best episode of the season so far. It probably one of the best episodes of the whole series. I won't go there. You know what? No, it was one of the best ones. I mean, it was from beginning to end was really good. Now, when I say it's one of the best episodes of the series, I don't mean it was an action packed, just crazy, just gunslinging, craziness to it. You had that, sure, but overall, the episode it played out really well, real smooth. We got to focus on every character, and there was impacts in every character. It wasn't just a crazy beginning, then you had slow middle, and then just like a pretty good ending. I mean, you had that, but the middle was actually really well made itself. You had a lot of other good character moments, which I feel like this is like the good centerpiece that's going to end the season. So to start out, the battle continued from the previous episode, which it was freaking amazing. I mean, the destruction of the hilltop was just excellent, and we got to see Daryl with a flail, so that was pretty cool. And if you don't know what that is, it's basically it's like that medieval stick with the slinging ball, with the spikes on it and crap. We got to see Daryl use that, and that was freaking badass. I mean, honestly, like, we need to see more of that stuff. I mean, he freaking was swinging that around, and it wasn't just against zombies; it was against whisperers. That was awesome. But during the battle, believe it or not, Judith actually kills her first victim. So, if you guys remember back in season 3, Carl did the same thing, but the only difference was Judith accidentally killed this guy. So, whereas Carl actually wanted to kill him. So Judith is more of the innocent, like, uh, greater good type character, whereas Carl kind of went more on a darker path. I don't see Judith really doing that, and I feel like unless they do more time skips, which I don't see that happening, let's just say they end the series within the next few seasons. I don't see her character doing that, mainly because she's just so young. And it wouldn't make any sense for her character to do that. But we also find out during the battle that Magna is actually still alive. So with that, I like the idea. How it was executed, wasn't a fan of. It was so obvious that she was alive. She wasn't a zombie. And simply for the fact that Yumiko spotted her right off the bat. And so you're going to tell me that Yumiko can spot you, but another whisperer couldn't recognize you? Now, you could argue saying that, well, she may have just blended in with the zombies and there was no whisperers nearby. Or you could say that she was just a random whisperer that nobody knew. Because I feel like their communities more or less, they don't know everybody. I mean, because they're all wearing masks, 90 to 95% of the time. So I feel like a lot of the characters don't know each other. But nevertheless, she wasn't wearing a mask, which is the problem. So I personally, in the writer's realm, I would have had her wear a mask, and then maybe we get a flashback, of how she got it. That would have been pretty cool. We would have had more of Magna, which that's one thing I'm not really a fan of this season personally. I want to see more of Magna and all the other secondary characters. I feel like they're not really getting as much. We still got a few more episodes left, so there's more to come. But all right, so the Hilltop loses the battle. They all retreat. After the battle, we get to see Negan, Beta, and Alpha basically just walking around, just killing people, or going through the rest of the people / zombies. And at one point, this guy with basically literally gets his arm burnt off, and he's like got a freaking bone sticking out, and he's all just it kind of gave me a vibe of if you ever seen RoboCop. There's a guy who gets like stuck in radioactivity, and he's just like he basically walks out in front of RoboCop as he's driving. He just like hits him. I don't know. It just kind of reminded me of that. But yeah, that was retarded. But my mind wanders during certain crazy scenes. But Negan actually kills a guy. He beats him upside the head with his Lucille 2.0. Remember, that's not his original Lucille. But Alpha actually gets mad, and she basically wants him to stab the people through the heart instead of the head. So that was kind of cool how that was, it kind of shows that Negan's not, that's just not his way of being a whisperer. And it also shows that, hey, like, it's a habit. But I kind of like the scene with Beta and Negan where he calls Beta, was it Frowning McTwo-Knives? That was a little throwback to the comic book. So basically, like, Alpha's mission at this point is actually find and kill Lydia, which I like that was added into the show, because I don't remember in the comic books. She just exiled Lydia to go be with Rick, but that was kind of it. And I feel like this kind of gave the Whisperers, specifically Alpha, more of a motivation to actually attack and pursue on. So, but which is cool because, hey, Negan connected with Lydia earlier in the season, so we got to see Negan's like, heck no, because Negan, when it comes to the kids, you don't mess with the kids. Judith, Lydia, Carl, that he literally does not put up with that crap, and that's pretty cool to see, because Negan, I mean, he's, from what we've seen right off the bat, killed Glenn, killed Abraham. Like, he's not afraid to kill people. But when it comes to the kids, like, he believes like they are the future, and that's pretty powerful for especially a villainous role. But, with that being said, that proves that he's not so evil. He's got a motive, and that builds that character, and I really enjoy it. But it leads to when he goes on the hunt. Well, he's not hunting Lydia. Basically, Beta tells him to go look for walkers, and he bumps into Aaron, and him and Aaron kind of get into a little truffle as far as just kind of like, a standoff. But I didn't really care for it, because I feel like Aaron kind of got a little too out of hand. Like, he's too emotional, and it's like I feel like in the writing standpoint, they're not really diving too much into Aaron as to why he's doing that. I mean, I get it. He lost Eric, but you got to understand that was 6 years ago at this point. I mean, I get it. You got a grudge against Negan, but it was just like, unfortunately, they didn't really get into that realm when Negan was the actual bad guy during the war. So I feel like them doing that now with Aaron 6 years later just doesn't really make too much sense. I mean, okay, you could argue, say, oh, well, Negan left, he left the cell and they didn't kill him and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, okay, but you didn't really cover that. So the fact that he's angry over Negan right now, and I mean, he's angry. It's not just like Daryl, just kind of like, oh, he escaped. I mean, when Aaron saw Negan, he's like, I want to kill you. And then literally the zombies freaking like distract him up until the point he has to flee, which to me, it was just kind of a convenience in the scene. But, it wasn't that bad. But so we get, was it Gamma, Alden, and I forget her name. The other deaf girl, not Connie, but her sister. They're basically, they fled and they're with the baby. And Gamma actually gets a chance to hold her nephew, the baby. But apparently Alden can't control the kid after all this time of taking care of it. All of a sudden, conveniently, the baby just keeps crying, and Gamma's like, no, you got to do it this way. So that was a little annoying, but hey, I mean, it was sweet. And then, as we find out later, Beta kills Gamma, so that was kind of cool. It was random. I like the plot twist. I feel like Gamma really, as much as I liked the character of Gamma, the idea of keeping her around just wouldn't have made sense. It just didn't make sense. So I kind of knew it was coming, and it was kind of an obvious thing that was going to happen. that Beta was gonna kill her, but I just didn't think it was gonna be that early. I thought it would be like in the actual finale, like Gamma does a few more things and then they kill her. But you know, I don't know. It could be budget. Who knows? They were like, yeah, we'll just kill you off. We got more characters. And then again, yeah, I forgot Maggie's coming back, so they can't be keeping these characters around. But yeah, yada yada yada. Carol gets punched in the face by Yumiko. That was, I like that tension. I think it was pretty cool. Not everybody needs to get along in these communities. It makes sense. Carol's been doing some stupid crap, and yeah, Yumiko got her girl back, and although they did break up, and we had to listen to that scene of them, oh, it's nice. I don't have to hear you snore and whatever that mushy crap. And then yeah, it was just that was a little filler. So, but other than that, it was cool. But yeah, Carol and Eugene they have an interaction, and that was probably, I don't know, it was kind of the weakest, in my opinion, of the episode. I just feel like it was kind of forced. Carol and Eugene, I feel like those two together, like they're just two different people, and it just kind of, I feel like Carol kind of just feels sorry for Eugene, and it's like, it makes sense, but it's kind of like I didn't really want to see it in this episode. Carol's kind of like, oh, if you basically need to, go on that date or whatever that Eugene was talking about, and Eugene's like, yeah, he goes, you got to go get what you want, and whatever that is. It just, I feel like they didn't really know what to say with that moment, but I guess it needed to be done. But yeah, so few minutes later, we find out Earl actually was bit. I guess he didn't have a knife or anything to cut his arm off, and yeah, it sucks. I mean, I really liked Earl, and I wish they kept him around, but had to be done. It was a good way because he sacrificed himself to prevent himself from turning to kill the kids. It was just how it was done. A little over the top, not gonna lie. I mean, as much as this show is about zombies and the killing can be over the top, I mean, him sticking a really dull board or wooden nail to go through his head when Judith basically has a katana, little mini katana. She could just gouge him in the head, or I would just die and then just have her just gouge it through her head. I mean, after all, the girl just literally killed somebody earlier in the episode, but it still worked. I understand why he didn't do it. I mean, it's just an Earl's character. He's very caring. He didn't want to put that on her, and I respect that. I feel like that was a good move, and it was sweet seeing he was praising the kids, saying that they did a good job. Kind of to me, it felt the oldest generation passing on wisdom to the newer generation. And I thought that was kind of a sweet moment. But yeah, like. Little side note, the Jerry's wife, she has a moment where she like freaked out, and I thought they were gonna have to like put her down, or she was gonna attract a zombie and get attacked, but that didn't happen. I would have liked to have seen that though. I'd like to see Jerry like go ape shit, like literally like zombies like surround her wife, and he's got his huge ass like axe and just swinging around like AMC. That needs to happen. Let's make it happen. Love Jerry. They find Ezekiel. He's hiding under, some debris. Freaks out. He's like, "Where's the kids?" Shortly after they find the kids, and Daryl and Lydia, or not Lydia, I'm sorry, Judith have a moment where they just kind of sit down and reflect, sitting next to Earl's, body. So that was cool. But yeah, so the finale, the last, the nitty gritty. Negan captured Lydia early on. It was kind of underwhelming, but he has a moment with Alpha, basically saying, "Hey, I found Lydia. Let's do your thing." Tells Alpha about his wife. She had the pancreatic cancer, which I liked how they added that in. Like here's Negan's story arc. I mean, it's cool, but I feel like there's nothing in it that it's that good to where they need to actually make a flashback. Now, if they did include Simon, but all right, I digress. Anyways, back to the review. Uh, explains the cancer to Alpha. You can tell he tries to like. I feel like people say he's trying to like convince her not to kill Lydia, but I like deep down, Negan. I think he kind of like had something for Alpha, but I think it's just because he hasn't had anything else. It's kind of like you going after a girl who you know isn't healthy for you, but you do it just for the thrill. And I think that's kind of what he had, but he knew he's like, no, I got to put you down. Because when he did, it was just like, that was it. It was done. And he did, you know. He slit her damn throat. It was crazy. Loved it. Freaking amazing, because it was like, for a second I thought Lydia was actually in there, and then whenever she opens the door, she was somewhere else. And I love the way they filmed that. It was so good. Hopefully we find out soon like where she came from or where she actually is. But yeah, he slit her throat. Alpha, of course, and it was kind of like a little reflection to the comic book, the cover where he's holding her head. And then yeah, we find out old Carol's working with Negan. So I love it. I love that whole adaptation, because that does not happen in the comic book at all. Negan just does it on his own, which essentially he's doing it on his own here, but it's kind of cool. I feel like Carol's got something else up her sleeve. Like, she's got a motive for Negan. So yeah, overall great episode. 5 out of 5. You know, this is one of those episodes I actually rewatched, you know, within, you know, the next day. So it's a good episode for sure, guys. I mean, you know, Walking Dead's back. I could say, like, I never would have thought season 10 without Rick, we're losing Michonne, and the show's good. You know, it's still like good. The writing's phenomenal. They got everything. They dot every I and cross every T, and that's all you need in a show. You know, you can bring in new characters. You can keep some of the older ones and just age their characters really well. You know, like Carol, Daryl, Negan. It's gonna be great, guys. I mean, I'm really looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to see what's to come. So, you know, anyways, comment down below, like and subscribe, and until next time, guys, keep on binging.